Hi, I'm Tammy Allen, and I am so excited to share my journey back to wellness with you. I had so much pain in my body. When I hit around 50, maybe even before then, I lose track. I'm 57 now. I began getting all kinds of different symptoms, and one of the most severe was with my body, my neck, my back, my hips, my knee, my feet, my elbows, one elbow, pretty much everything had some sort of injury to it, and I was not in good shape. One day my neck and my arm literally seized up and I couldn't move. I had several times where I couldn't walk. My back just, it will just stop you. And it was due to several things. I did train heavily. I was a fitness competitor and bodybuilder 20 years ago, and I went after it very hard in my normal over-the-top way of being. And then, after that, I sat at a computer for about 10 years, and my exercise level went very down. Probably if I'd kept the exercise up, I might have been okay. But the combination of, training really hard and then doing nothing, don't do that. I don't recommend that. But anyway, I went to a chiropractor and then eventually to an orthopedic doctor who said I had arthritis, which I didn't like that. And he said, physical therapy, and he said, anti-inflammatories. And mostly I didn't like the diagnosis of arthritis because that's just an icky word. My grandma had rheumatoid arthritis and was in a wheelchair, so that wasn't really a word that I was going to receive well or accept. And I went to the physical therapist, and he said that my neck was like rebar. I had so much scar tissue that he couldn't get through it, and I had this feeling like he didn't believe that he could. And I would suggest to you, if you do not believe that somebody can heal you and you're seeing them, go to somebody else. You have the choice. You are hiring these people. So you don't want to go to a doctor or any kind of health practitioner that does not believe that you can come back, because they help you, So anyway, I continued my journey looking, and I looked on the internet. I love the internet. If you have issues, search, because somebody has had the same issue just like I have. So I found dry needling. And dry needling gets right into the trigger point. And for those of you who don't know what scar tissue and trigger points are and how they are formed, the scar tissue is formed when you get an injury. And we all have injuries, right? Even children have injuries. And when we get an injury, the body throws out silly string. It seems like silly string. That's the actual composition of, what it looks like if you were inside the body. And then it forms a web. And that web is to strengthen you so that you can do what you've got to do just to get to where you got to go and keep on going. But once that injury has healed, that scar tissue hardens, and now it clamps down and there's no blood flow. And that creates a problem in restrictive movement. And a trigger point is where two muscles are coming together and, somehow, some pain, maybe scar tissue, who knows what, I don't know what really started it, but a trigger point is where the 2 points come together of your muscles and they spasm. And it sends a nerve, it goes up the nerves and into your brain, and pain. It gets the pain signal, and now it comes back down. And so it becomes this loop to the trigger point to your brain, trigger point to your brain. And so for me, it felt like just constant pain. It didn't feel like a spasm. It's like, here's this pain and it's constantly hurting. And trust me, I was hurting so bad. I had constant pain at night. I would move my neck and hear all these little cracking things, and I thought it was bone on bone. I mean, how do you know, right? You're not a doctor. And I kept asking, and let me tell you, it was hard for me to find out this information as to what was really wrong with me. I asked a lot of questions. Be sure and ask questions. If you get to the root of what is wrong with you, you can fix it. So anyway, I find this acupuncturist who also does dry needling. By the way, dry needling is also done by physical therapists. So if you want to look either for physical therapy or find an acupuncturist that is licensed to do that, highly recommend it. He was a great guy. He really knew his stuff. He was also a massage therapist. So I knew this man, had a lot of different knowledge in different modalities. So anyway, the first time that I went to him, it hurt. He found trigger points everywhere, right? I mean, I was just full of them, and I was amazed, like, how do you know where those are? And he's like, that's my job. But my whole, neck and shoulders, it was all bruised, but it was tender. It was the first time, there was no rebar, completely soft. The tissue was soft. I was in heaven. And I thought, yay, this is it. And then, of course, we go back to life and, normal activities or, somewhat, and the patterns. The body goes in these patterns. We go back into our repetitive actions, and now it happens again and the spasm comes back. So there's this ongoing journey that you have to retrain so those things don't happen anymore. You have to stretch it out. You have to break up the scar tissue. You have to, exercise it, stretch it. You have to stay on it. And so I finally found a masseuse, a medical masseuse. And this is where my real turning point happened, because I would go and see him every week. And he really just took his time. He knew what he was doing. A sports masseuse would also be good. Either find, somebody, not just a fluff and buff, as they say, but somebody that knows how to actually correct these problems, how to work out that scar tissue and those trigger points. But even still, it took me a while, and I'm also going to be really frank with you that this was a painful process, and you just have to relax through it. Take Epsom salts baths, which is good for you, also because it has magnesium. You just be patient and stay after it, because this did take me a few years to get through everything.